There is so much hype in the market that generic chatbots like ChatGPT or Claude are great at trading. But anyone who has traded in his life, even for 1 month, knows that the truth is far away from it. And the reason I can say that for sure is because I've struggled for months just to get the system right, but it did not simply work. Until I came across Draconic, which is an AI native terminal. It is highly customized to the trader, his trading style, and his trading history. To show you what I'm talking about, here on your screen is Draconic terminal. This is the entry gateway to my new trading system. And if I go to preset instruction, I will see some templates. These templates are specifically created based on different trading profiles. For example, we have structured or SMC trader. In the template B, we have intraday option trader, or in option C, we have momentum or velocity trader, and we have a complete empty slot wherein anyone with his own custom trading style can come in and define his instructions. To go into slight depth, we can see structured or SMC trader profile or a momentum velocity trader. These are the two trading profiles that I find myself closely associated with. So for example, if we talk about structured or SMC trader, in the instruction set, the first line clearly defines that I trade with structure-led methodology, price action and SMC concepts. My time frame are 1 hour for trend, 15 minutes for setup formation and 5 minutes for entry timing. If we scroll down at the bottom, what I want less of, it says that I am not heavily reliant on indicators, so I do not prefer seeing a lot of RSI, MACD, stochastics. I am not highly interested in sector breadth concept unless directly relevant to me. And what I want more of is clean reads on where liquidity sits, so it primarily focuses on liquidity and which zones have been tested versus untested. If we see and try to contrast it with momentum and velocity trader, I hunt momentum on Indian FNO stocks in intraday. Time frame is 15 minutes for trend, 5 minutes for setup and 1 minute for entry execution on the cleanest play. Now this, as you see, is based on even shorter time frame. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we see what I want less of. It says I do not want deep option data unless I specifically ask for it. And I'm not interested in broad price action without the momentum overlay. But what I want more of is comparative velocity across the watch list. That is which stocks are accelerating faster right now. Microstructure reads on order flow where available and volume profile context within the current session. And this becomes very powerful when we try to leverage it during a trading journey. So for example, if I choose the option of template A, structure or SMC trader, I'll save this template and I'll ask it the question. And then we can see how Draconic customizes the experience for each trader. So now as you can see, I have asked Draconic, is now a good time to enter Adani Enterprises? And this is when we have selected the mode of an SMC trader. And going over the results quickly that it got me, we can see that the structural overview was provided in the windows of 1 hour trend, 15 minute setup and 5 minute entry, completely and accurately following the instructions that we had provided in the preset instructions. In the 1 hour trend, it says that there is a structural bullishness. In 15 minute setup, it says there is a bearish change of characters, and in 5 minutes entry time frame, it is saying that volatility is coiling. Now as you can see in the detailed answer, it goes to the exact levels of 2943 or 3035. So these are the different levels in which it tells me the exact accurate definition and structure formation. If we go slightly below, we are able to see key structural levels that it has defined, exactly defining why that level is relevant. It says swing highs. These are the two swing highs that it mentions. On this zone, it mentions that there is a bullish order block, and in the zone of 3001 to 2972 there is a bullish fair value gap, and it also defines a major swing low within the 1 hour time frame. The last and the most important point that it mentions is what are the different execution scenarios that I can follow. The first one is bullish trigger. It says wait for a clean 5 minute displacement candle closing above 3044 levels. So we want to reclaim the 5 minute bearish order block. And in case of bearish invalidation, it says that if the price breaks and closes below the 15 minute demand zone, that is 3022, with high volume, the bullish setup is invalidated. The next structural magnet shifts lower to the unmitigated 15 minute fair value gap between 2972 to 3001. So ultimately it says the entry point should be somewhere around 3044, aiming for higher highs. And then what could be the potential stop loss? It says 3022 is the stop loss. For an entry of 3044, we are somewhere looking at a target price of 3105. Now I'll try to change the trading profile. I'll remain with my original question of what should I do with Adani Enterprises, but now we are changing the trading profile and using the preset template of a momentum or velocity trader. Let us see what would be the difference that we notice in different trading style, and is Draconic able to adjust to the trader's expectation. So on your screen, as you can see, we asked the same question, is now a good time to enter Adani Enterprises, and The profile is now of a velocity or a momentum trader. It says that Adani is in a clear downward session trend showing no current alignment with your momentum setup criteria. That's the best part. If the trader was looking at smart money concepts and he was comfortable with the smart money concepts trading strategies, he would have received an entry signal. But for a trader with a completely different risk appetite, with a completely different trade setups such as swing trading, he was clearly told that the setup does not look favorable for a momentum trader. If we try to go into depth of the different metrics that it analyzed and utilized to give us this answer, it tries to analyze on the basis of velocity, acceleration, the different volume ratio, the VWAP distance, and the breakout zone status. It clearly says that the breakout zone status has failed. And for a trader, the most important thing is to watch out for different levels, because even if the setup right now is not very accommodative, in future, let's say on the Monday market opening or Tuesday market opening, if the setup presents itself, then we should be aware what are the key levels on which we can get entry side. But the underlying analysis that was presented to us is that this is not a good time to enter Adani Enterprises. This stock is structurally broken for the day, trading below VWAP with a downward velocity on both 5-minute and 1-minute interval. There is no active breakout to trade. Patience is required until a bullish change of character develops. And this, as we saw, proves that Draconic is smart enough to provide a customized answer to each trader basis his trading needs. We saw in the two different profiles how Draconic emphasized clearly on different time frame analysis, how it was very cautious when in template C there was no trade setup to be found, but in template A, when the trading setup was existing, it clearly defined what are the different trade execution strategies a trader can execute. It clearly understood for each of the two traders what matters most, and at the end it provided a very simple explanation of how the trader should interpret this setup. But the next natural question is that does Draconic remember all this conversation, all this contextual history and my trading strategies and preferences to maintain the continuity of the chat, or do I have to start right from zero every time when I'm trying to discuss a strategy or planning a trade? So for that, I have asked Draconic a simple question. Given how I trade, what should I focus on first with Adani Enterprises? Now this is during the template A of the profile of a smart money concept trader, and the answer that we see ensures that Draconic maintains the continuity, because if you remember, the time frame for an SMC trader, as we had clearly mentioned in a rule set, was 1 hour, 15 minutes and 5 minutes, and it is exactly following that time frame. To sum up the answer that it provided, it told me clearly that based on the different time frame, this is the structure map. These are the key structure and liquidity levels that I need to follow. As you can see, this is much more detailed than the previous question that we asked, because now we are going into more depth and Draconic is uncovering different layers of the trade setup. And if we go slightly below, it tells me in 3 very concrete points what is the tactical execution plan. It mentions that first I am supposed to watch the liquidity sweep, I should confirm the 5-minute displacement, and then finally it also tells me how I should manage my risk. And on the basis of my trading history, it clearly remembers that 1.5% of my 50 lakh account, which is about 75,000 of risk, is what I can afford, and I should place my hard stop below the newly formed 5-minute structural low. I should set up my 1:2 risk reward target at 3080 level, mitigating the 15-minute bearish value gap. And I should scale 50%, that is book 50% at 1:2 risk reward ratio, and after that I should trail the rest of the setup. And to get this answer, nowhere did I have to tell Draconic repeatedly or make it remind my trading strategies, my risk reward ratios. Everything it remembers and maintains the continuity of the conversation. And all this happens whenever Draconic is trading any stock, any instrument. It remembers my trading style, and at any given point it is able to scan the entire Indian stock market and come up with the stocks. I do not have to manually go and search for the stocks, create risk reward setups every time in each of the different stock every single day, making this new automated trading framework using Draconic much more seamless and profitable for me. But even after all this personalization, I make sure to at least cross check everything, so this does not add a lot of workload on my plate, because even though Draconic can miss 1 or 2 data points, this is a much better way to work rather than asking every generic question and trying to translate it myself every single time onto TradingView.